I've said before that this era is the player empowerment era. In fact, it's been that way for a minute now, but we've seen it a lot. Mostly we've seen it in the NBA. Of course, a lot of people want to say it started with LeBron James and the whole decision, but I kind of think it started with the Boston Celtics and their big three, and of course, Kevin Garnett forcing his way to the Celtics, as well as Ray Allen forcing his way to the Celtics with Rajon Rondo and Paul Pierce. But since that time, the player empowerment era in the NBA has been strong. Now you see people like Kevin Durant, going to Golden State, then going to Brooklyn, then going to Suns. You look at everything that Kyrie Irving's doing. You look at this is the player empowerment era, this is the player empowerment era for basketball. It hasn't really matriculated down to football because of how tough it is for, to get contracts, to get second contracts, how tough it is to, the franchise tag, and most of the contracts are geared to be team friendly before player friendly. It's just been tough to really spearhead the player empowerment era for the NFL. But what we're starting to see is, what it takes? It takes a big name. It takes a big name to really spearhead the player empowerment. Again, it took Kevin Garnett, who was one of the top players at the league at the time. It took Ray Allen. It took LeBron James. Kawhi Leonard did it. It takes a big name to really spearhead that. And in the NFL, the only player I can really think that started it was probably, I don't know, Kirk Cousins maybe. That's not a big enough name. What we're seeing from Saquon Barkley, holding out of minicamp, holding out of mandatory training camp because he wants a deal. He saw Daniel Jones get a deal, and of course they tried to franchise tag Saquon Barkley. Saquon Barkley did not sign the franchise tag, and now is sitting out. Here's the situation. Here's the issue with all this going on right now with Saquon Barkley and the Giants. There's issues on both sides. Let me speak on the Giants issue. The Giants issue is I understand that this is a quarterback-driven league. I get that. However, you should also prioritize your best player. Because your best play, while yes, it's a quarterback-driven league, but let's be honest about something. Daniel Jones is not. You know what it is? It's a quarterback-driven league for the top teams that have a top quarterback. When we talk about the Chiefs, when we talk about the Bengals, when we talk about the Bills, when we talk about now the Jets, when we talk about, the Philadelphia Eagles. Yes, it's a quarterback-driven league, but those are really the only quarterbacks that can kind of win you a championship. The Patrick Mahomes, the Josh Allens, the Lamar Jacksons, the Joe Burrows, Jalen Hurts, Justin Herbert. Those are the quarterbacks that's going to win you a championship or win you a Super Bowl, could win you a Super Bowl. When you don't have that, then you should have to prioritize your best player, because for those teams, no question, their best player is the quarterback. But when you look at like the Tennessee Titans, your best player is, of course, obviously Derrick Henry. When you look at the Los Angeles Rams, while yes, Matthew Stafford's good, your best player is obviously Aaron Donald. When we look at the Giants, while yes, Daniel Jones had an incredible year last year, But even in his incredible year, it got them to the second round of the playoffs. And they got embarrassed by the Eagles. However, Saquon Barkley is and has been their best player. I understand, due to injury, he was he didn't have the best year prior. But Saquon Barkley had an incredible year last year. Last year, the regular season, he rushed for 1,300 yards. This is a regular season. 1,300 yards, 10 touchdowns, and he caught for, I think, 338 yards. Saquon Barkley is a top running back in the league. So I understand that as a top running back in the league, and you're looking like, how are you going? Same thing that happened with Lamar Jackson. How are you going to franchise tag me when I see you pay? While yes, it's a quarterback driven league, it's only that when your quarterback is a top tier quarterback. Daniel Jones is not that. So you gave your money to Daniel Jones thinking that Saquon Barkley was going to be cool with getting franchise tag, and that has not been the case. You also, and Dexter Lawrence is probably their second best player, you also paid Dexter Lawrence. So it's like everyone around you is getting paid but you. And you're arguably their best player. So now the Giants have put themselves in a dilemma. What do you do? Do you acquiesce and pay the player? Or do you let him sit out? Here's the problem on Saquon Barkley's side, however. And we're seeing this with Delvin Cook. We're seeing this with Ezekiel Elliott. We're seeing this now with Derrick Henry because his names are in trade talks. In sports, the game is inevitably going to evolve. It happens in every single sport. Let's look at hockey, since we just talked about the Vegas Golden Knights. Let's look in hockey. In hockey, players are bigger, faster, stronger. The equipment is better. It evolved. In basketball, the game started with 8 teams. Now there's 30. And if you look at the players now. Look at the kid. Look at the high school kids now compared to what they were just, let's say, 10 years ago. The game is going to evolve. In football, the game is evolving into a quarterback, wide receiver, pass game because people want to see passes. People want to see incredible catches. People, they of course, you get more distance throwing the ball. So the running back market has always been tough because of the life expectancy, football life expectancy, not football life expectancy for a running back is very short because of the brute force and the brute beating that your body takes on a daily basis is unlike any other position. So you see, once they get to that 1,000 rushes mark, it starts to go downhill. And while no, I don't think Saquon Barkley is going downhill, the market for the running backs is not what it used to be. It used to be your running back could be your best player. When we talk about Terrell Davis, when we talk about Emmitt Smith, Barry Sanders, the bus. Gone are those days. And if you really think about it, Barry Sanders didn't even win a championship. But Emmitt Smith had Troy Aikman and Michael Irvin. Terrell Davis, he had Shannon Sharp. He had, why am I blanking on this man's name? Blank on the man's name. When you look at Jerome Bettis, he had Big Ben. I think that Saquon Barkley is right to hold out. I just don't know what the outcome is going to be or I don't know how successful the outcome is going to be for him because of the market that is the market for running backs. And teams are going to lean on, well, look at the market. How are we going to? And that's another thing. Well, and that's what makes this situation different than Lamar Jackson's situation. You look at the market is constantly changing for the better when we talk about quarterbacks. And like I said, when it happened, I think Jalen Hurts getting his deal ultimately sealed the fate and helped Lamar Jackson get his. When you look around, you don't see any running back really making big money outside of Derrick Henry, and he's in trade talks right now. When you look at other running backs as making big money, look at Dalvin Cook. I don't even think he's on a team right. Dalvin Cook, he's not on a team right now. Ezekiel Elliott, he's not on a team right now. I mean, yes, you can say Nick Chubb, but Nick Chubb isn't making that much money either. So I respect, and I say this all the time. I'm all about players getting what they feel they deserve. I'm all up for that, and I want that to happen. I just don't know how this is going to turn out because the market is so, lack of a better term, dry for the wide or running back position. And Saquon Barkley deserves to be a top paid player for his position, but what is a top paid player for his position? And are the Giants going to be the team to give it to him? Because I think there's going to be a lot of suitors if he doesn't report to the team or they don't get a deal done. I just don't know the type of money he's really going to get, because he was drafted in 2018, and for a career, even after being injured, he has 4,249 yards rushing, 1,820 yards receiving, 29 touchdowns. It's only 4 fumbles. So I am interested in it, and I think this is going to play a big, and not just that, man. You see this around the league. Like I said, it's a player empowerment league. You're seeing Patriots players holding out, and there was just a report that Stephon Diggs didn't report to mandatory training camp, or at least day one of mandatory training camp for the Bills. So it's just players are now in football are starting to it really started with Le'Veon Bell as the big name player, but as far as recent memory, now you're looking at Lamar Jackson and now Saquon Barkley. Hey, bro, do what you got to do. Try to get to get as much money as you feel you deserve. I just hope that I hope the Giants do the right thing, seeing as though they paid Daniel Jones and Dexter Lawrence. Hopefully they do the right thing for Saquon. So. Oh, man, you stayed to the end of the video. I appreciate you. If you like what you saw, be sure to hit that subscribe button so you'll never miss any content from your boy. You can also go back and watch past episodes, past clips, and don't forget that the Unpopular Podcast, new episodes drop every Wednesday and Saturday. Appreciate you.